Okay, there we are. We're live.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody's had a great week. We've had a killer one around here. But we've had some interesting things happen this week that we're going to use as real life examples.
Yeah.
So on episode number 71 today, we're going to talk to you about the dreaded trolls and haters on social media.
It's going to happen these days.
It really is. And so we're going to talk about this and give you some advice and some tips on how to prevent it from happening, how to handle it if it does happen, and just some different examples of how to react or how not to react. We're going to cover all the bases. Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it because this is something that's kind of like every business owner's worst nightmare, right?
It really is. And I feel like it's something that's not talked about until it's already happened.
Yeah. Which, on a side note, I think we're staying very on brand. It's Friday the 13th. So for us to talk about nightmare-ish scenarios is just kind of meta, I think. But
I have good luck on 13. Anything 13.
Well, it says because your birthday's on the 13th.
Yeah, but I also have really good luck on Friday the 13th. Sorry.
So let's dig into this. We had a scenario with a couple of clients actually this week where it popped up that they got some hateful comments on posts on Facebook. And
the trolls were out this week.
They are out in full force, unfortunately. So when we're talking about this, I want to look at it from a couple of different perspectives. I want to talk about, getting negative reviews as well as just negative comments on posts that you've put out into the world. So as far as, let's start with reviews, because this is always something that reviews kind of make people nervous anyway. And some platforms are moving away from reviews, like Facebook is moving away from reviews and just doing recommendations these days anyway.
Yeah.
And it's for this reason. It's because of the bad seeds in the world.
There's always that one person
that just can't
get with
keep it together. My grandma always said, like, if you don't have something nice to say nothing. She also said kill them with kindness. So
I think there's a time and place to put a review, and I think even if it's negative, I always try and write it in a good limelight, like they can learn from this. I'd love to try again at a different time. Hopefully they can learn from this. Try and keep it positive, even if it's a negative.
Yeah, and just always operate from, a lot of people just want to operate from the perspective, the perspective that everyone's doing the best that they can with what they've got.
Yeah, I think there's always a time and place. We talk about bad luck. There's just things that are out of control that you just cannot help. That things are going to happen and someone comes in and has a different experience. Not only that, everyone has their own ways of doing things, their own personality, likes and dislikes. So when you get multiple personalities in a situation, there's things that are going to happen.
Yeah. So on that note, let's talk more about getting a bad review. There are many different scenarios where someone might leave a bad review for your business. And maybe a lot of times I see it that they haven't even done business with you.
Those ones.
So let's talk about those folks first.
Honor code people. Come on.
So my whole philosophy on reviews is you have to respond to every review. You have to show, no matter if it's good or bad, that you appreciate them taking the time to leave that review.
Yeah.
You want your followers or your customers, no matter what their experience has been, to feel seen and heard and understood. Yeah. And so when you get a bad review, that's when it gets really awkward. Sometimes people are really awkward too with responding to a good review of like, well, like, that was a really nice compliment. Like, what do I say? I don't want to sound arrogant. I don't want to come off as like, well, of course we did great, and that's a whole nother animal. But let's talk more about about responding to the negative ones. So if we had someone who came on our page and said, what a worthless, poor excuse for a company you are, and we didn't know who they were. We never dealt with them. How would we handle that?
I think first assessing the situation, double checking that we have or have not worked with that person. Also, And I think just trying to simply, cleanly, and calmly handle the situation with a clean and simplistic response,
Yes.
but a more kind, killing with kindness kind of response. But keep it simple. The more in depth you go,
Yep.
the more it will allow for the person to respond again.
Yeah. Don't open any cans, even if they're little baby cans of worms, by going too far deep with it. Just leave it simple. Like Kara said, keep it quick and easy, heartfelt, honest. Of, thank you so much for your review. We appreciate you taking the time to give us your genuine feedback. We'll take it into consideration as we move forward. We're always wanting to learn and grow.
That's it. I think as humans, we always tend to want to prove our side of the story. We want to, explain. This is not the platform or the time to do this. And I have to always practice the most self-control to not be like, but here's why I did it, or here's what I was thinking, or what happened, and nope, not the time or place.
Yeah. You just, like Kara said, you don't want to open it up to any more argument, any more discussion. You want to keep it clean and simple and easy. Let the person, feel recognized, even if you don't know who they are, even if you've never dealt with them before, they've never set foot inside of your business or bought your product or service. Still just acknowledge their presence, and then move on. Because what might possibly happen, and we saw this happen with a post that went out for a client recently, is that your loyal fans and followers are going to jump in and play mama bear for you. You don't need to do that.
It's, you keep a gentle eye on it. You're like a ref. You're keeping an eye on it, but like everyone else is in playing the game. And I found that you don't have to delete the comment or block it at all. So
those things actually give you an opportunity to present yourself in a very professional manner. And other people, the more engagement on that, the more comments, or the more likes on it, the more people are going to see it pop up into their timelines. So you want to just come back with kindness, and then you just kind of let the algorithm take over from there. Yeah. Allow yourself to present as the graceful, wonderful human that you are.
Rise above, because it's going to just going to benefit you so much more than anything else you would do.
I'm glad you point that out about it being a benefit, because actually there are all kinds of studies that prove that consumers, when they're making a purchasing decision between, all the different options, they actually appreciate seeing a business with not like just under a 5-star review, because it seems a little more realistic. So there's like a bunch of psychology behind that. So if you don't have a 5-star review, it's fine. Now, if you have a 3-star review or a 2.5, like let's reevaluate a little bit.
But I always like to see some of the not so positive ones, because I like to see how they respond. Are they going to be welcoming? Are they going to be understanding? Are they going to be courteous and try and work with me on the situation?
Yeah.
Which tells me, okay, if I have a situation happen with them, or if I'm buying a product and the product is not what I was supposed to get, are they going to work with me? Are they going to be helpful?
Right.
And even if I get the wrong product, as long as they're going to work with me and we have a great conversation, I'll have no problem.
Yeah, Janelle's making some great points here in our comments too. She said, perspective and empathy are skills, but constructive feedback is a great gift to help us course correct. Absolutely. They can be really helpful tools. You should definitely keep up with those comments and reviews and make sure that you understand how people are talking about you and your company, and take it to heart. If you have enough people coming at you and leaving bad reviews, it's probably for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, constructive criticism is one of the oldest things. It's the hardest thing to learn to take in and to push forward and take it and do something with it. But once you do, it's so important, because it's how you learn and how you grow your business and life in general.
Yeah,
I learned the hard way with art school, though. You put your work on the board and you have 57 people telling you their very, very honest opinions about your work.
Oof. Yeah, it scares me a little bit. But let's talk now about, what if you did do business with that person? I have a very good example. I will not name names, but I have an example in mind of a local business that had someone leave a review, and they had patronized that company before, and the owner immediately went into reactive emotional mode, and
Defensive.
that response of just trying to justify anything, of saying, well, we tried to accommodate you, I had a conversation with you, like, no. You don't even need to go there, because that person is already in attack mode, and that's just going to make it explode. So that review turned into a firestorm of like 30 some comments back and forth, a war, a Facebook review war. And like, that person's family members were jumping in that don't even live here locally, and it just got so out of hand. I think it damages the reputation of you and your company when you can't. It's hard, and maybe you need someone else to do it. Maybe you call up one of your friends or someone you know have hired to help you with your marketing, and you say, listen, there's this review in here, I can't respond to it, I'm too emotional. That's perfectly okay. Ask for help where you need to.
You don't need to respond right away. You can take some time to formulate the correct answer, and
Right.
Keep an eye on them, respond to them, but sometimes you gotta just know when to walk away.
Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
need to respond to every single comment. Just take it in, make your response, and maybe just walk away and physically walk away from it. And I think the hardest thing is that with technology and with social media and everything today, not everyone reads things the same way you do. So it's kind of like goes back to text messaging. Let's say you're text messaging with a friend or a family member, you send one thing and you mean it was great, but then they read it and they go, it was great, like in a different way.
Different intonation. Like,
exactly.
Everyone's going to perceive things based off of their current state and mood and environment. So it's important to take that into consideration. The way you read something might be someone's genuine way of helping and giving constructive feedback, and they may not be trying to attack you, but maybe they just have that tone naturally. So you don't know. So it's always a good idea to just
get a second opinion,
or just like offer to take that conversation to a private space, like on the phone or in person. Again,
highly recommend
anything of that nature. Okay, so let's talk more about, let's divert a little bit into troll world and comments on posts. So we had 2 clients this week. One that we help with their social media, and the other one that we help with other aspects of their marketing. But they got attacked by some very angry people who may struggle with reading comprehension. But
that, and taking a closer look at when the post was actually posted was the whole dynamic of what even began with the whole 67 comment war between people.
Yeah, it's actually over 100 now.
Oh, well, there you go.
So this client that we managed their content for, about a week ago, we had posted this image, and it had an identified, like, I'll just say it had a pride flag flying, and someone saw it on Veterans Day pop into their news feed, and this person got very upset and made a nasty comment in the comment section and said, shouldn't that be an American flag flying? No matter where you stand on this at all, the person just assumed that was done on Veterans Day, when actually on Veterans Day, they have flags lined up along the outside of their building.
Had a specific post for the normal posting time of later that day. And so instead of looking back and saying, okay, well, this is Facebook, so I can see it, whenever it was, it had been 5 days prior to Veterans Day. And instead of looking at that, they just made a quick assumption
and then it just dominoed from that point.
Spiraled.
So when the business, one of the people that works in the business notified me, said, hey, I don't know if you've seen this, but it looks like, there's some nastiness going on. There was one comment, it had a couple of likes on it, But there were a couple other comments that were positive, and I was like, okay, well, just keep an eye on it. I'm not going to freak out about this because for this particular client,
the commenting hadn't gone into depth about opinions yet. At that point, it was just the one comment with 2 smaller comments and then 3 happy comments. So it hadn't gone into depth yet.
And for me, looking at this, I like to look at this from the big picture perspective. So knowing this client, this business, the community that it's in, and the people that ideal customer who frequents there anyway is fully on board with flying that pride flag and waving it with pride. And so I was like, I'm not going to freak out. I will monitor it. If people get nasty, I would, we'll jump in and we'll say like, hey, can we just be kind to each other? That kind of thing.
Little did we know that on a Wednesday, people had lots of time. So it escalated fairly quickly.
But the moral of this story is that we monitor it. If there were really horrible comments, we've tried to hide them or delete them, and that's fine. But that's all your own individual preference. If you just don't want any of that going on, you just delete it as it happens, or you hide it, and that's cool. We decided to keep it up because we thought the followers were going to rally in our favor anyway. So I'm going to show you actually what this did.
Also, what we show you next is another reason why we decided to keep it up.
So let's take a look at these numbers.
Karma.
So this negative situation turned out to be a huge positive for this company. They got a lot more orders than usual for dinner that night. They also got way more
likes on the page.
Likes on the page are up. Engagement is up. A ton of people have commented and said like they're going to come try it out now. They're going to go there sometime in the near future. So it was a really positive thing. And you can see these numbers, the reach is up 380% just in the last week alone. Engagements is up 692%, and the likes on the page are up 400%. You can see that now there are 100 comments and 5 shares, and it went viral. And it's a little bit scary when that happens, but it's not the end of the world. And it ended up being a positive for this company.
It did. And stay strong in what you believe in and what your company's morals and values and what's important to you. Stay true and strong in that, because the people that you want patronizing your business is ones that follow in suit with the business's morals and beliefs and values.
Right.
So stay true to who you are. Keep an eye on the comments, but it's not always the end of the world. What's that saying? It's like bad press is still free press.
The whole time I'm just thinking, this person who made that original comment, who kept coming back and commenting again, I was like, well, you obviously don't know how the Facebook algorithm works. Let me just teach you all. If you don't know, the more you comment or engage with that post that you don't like, the more Facebook is going to show you that post you don't like.
That's
similar
posts, similar comments, similar businesses, and similar ads to what those values of the business are.
So if you see something that goes against, whatever you believe or however you think or live your life, just scroll on by, because the algorithm is gonna dish it right back up to you the more you engage with it. And that's what happened to this fella.
We're all human. We have opinions and we have the right to vocalize them.
Absolutely.
Maybe take a screenshot and take it to your friend group if you all have the same
Text
opinions.
it to your buddies that will echo what you believe. That's fine. Not really, but it is. So that's what happened. But in all of these scenarios, there's no way to prevent these, because you can't control what other people are doing or how they're reacting to anything. So the best way to mitigate this from the beginning, though, is a little bit of preventative maintenance. And that is just to document, even a simple one sheet of, this is our social media crisis plan. If and write out some of these scenarios. If we get a bad review from someone who is our customer or client, we would take XYZ steps. This is how we would respond. If we don't know them, this is how we would respond. And just type it out, have it in place, know how you'll handle it. So when you're in that space and you're kind of hurt or emotional about it, which is totally understandable, you have a game plan to follow.
Right. And for those who have employees, and especially multiple employees,
yes,
I would reoccurringly every once in a while, maybe like, every quarter to twice a year, bring out that plan and go over it with them, because if they work for you and they love you and they're going to continue to work for you, they're going to jump in and fight for you in those comments. But that's not always the best scenario if people know that they work for you.
Right.
You want to have a group response and have the proper response that follows your plan. So go back over it and say, if this happens, here's what we will follow. If you have a specific on what you would like your employees to do, there you go. If you don't, then free for all, but
right. And anytime you get a new hire on board or you outsource, your marketing of any kind, this is something that you should share with any of those people who are a part of your team. Whether it's someone who's actually working on that piece of your business or someone who just works in your business, period, and is going to react emotionally to it as well.
And if you have that family member that just really strongly stands up for you, maybe go over it with them as well.
Everybody needs a pit bull.
Oh yeah.
A guard dog in their life.
Number one fan.
Yeah.
Will do anything for you.
Absolutely. So that you don't have to. So you should never, as the business owner, have to do that. People will come fighting for you. So it can, overall, it's just have a plan in place.
Don't react emotionally.
Yep, don't react emotionally, and keep it simple.
Always keep it simple.
Those are the 3 little bits of advice we have for all these scenarios put together. Hope this was helpful. I know it's something that happens.
It's a sensitive topic.
It is. It's very, very upsetting when it does happen. So that's our best advice for how to handle it. If you have any more questions or need help coming up with that plan, let us know. We'll be happy to help you out with that. And thanks for tuning in for another fun-filled. I don't know if that was really fun, but no, it always is.
PSA.
Yeah,
for a PSA.
A little PSA on how to handle the haters and trolls. So have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.